Thanks for your support as a channel member, Germat7046. I simulated an F1 season with a grid of only female drivers on F1 Manager 24. Using the F1 Manager database editor, I removed all the men from the sport and repopulated it with women. We've got every full-time F1 Academy driver, including eventual champion Abby Pulling. She's joined by the likes of Dorian Pan, Bianca Bustamante and Chloe Chambers. I had to repackage some of the generic drivers in the database to complete the grid, and we've got a couple of regen drivers too. I've also equalised the cars, making them slower, and the engine performances are also the same. Development is allowed, but that's set to the easy mode in the hope that keeps teams close in performance. We'll check in with development every 6 rounds to see who's been making gains. Pulling is the highest rated driver on the grid. Based on ratings, Gerard, Pan, Lena Bula and Sophia Flörsch should give her a hard time. We'll be using McLaren for this save. Our drivers are Bianca Bustamante and Nerea Marti. My pre-season prediction is that one of the Mercedes or Alpine girls wins the title. Who do you think will be crowned the Queen of F1? The season gets underway in Bahrain and it's Abby Pulling who emerges victorious. Bustamante had started from pole but dropped to 5th as her McLaren teammate Marti finished 2nd. Mercedes regen driver Caroline Gerard finished 3rd. Teammate of race winner Pulling, Sophia Flörsch, finished 10th, meaning McLaren led the constructors table after round 1. Round 2 in Jeddah saw Maya Vogt take victory for Ferrari ahead of Dorian Pan. She reached the podium despite starting 15th. Her Mercedes teammate Gerard finished 10th despite starting on pole position. Bahrain winner Pulling started 12th and recovered to 5th, while Bustamante got her first podium of the year. Vogt's victory means she now leads the championship. Melbourne saw Ferrari at the front again as Aurelia Nobles took pole, but it was Red Bull's Emily de Haas who won the race, making it 3 different winners in 3 races. Vogt extended her championship lead to 21 points over Pulling with 2nd place. Haas got their first podium appearance of the year as regen driver Carla Costa finished 3rd. Ferrari now take over the Constructors' Championship lead from McLaren. Suzuka saw Mercedes at the front with Pan on pole. However, it was teammate Gerard who emerged victorious on race day, becoming our 4th different winner. She beat Vogt and Pin as Pulling had another terrible race. She only finished 14th, while McLaren could only manage 13th and 17th. Mercedes become the 3rd team to top the teams table, as Gerard moves into 2nd behind Vogt in the drivers. Gerard strengthened her championship credentials by winning the first sprint of the year in China. She carried that form into qualifying, taking pole position, but Aston Martin's Jessica Hawkins scored the Grand Prix win, our 5th different race winner in as many races. Championship leader Vogt had a tricky day, finishing 7th as Gerard closed the gap a little with P3. McLaren got its first victory of the year as Marti won the sprint in Miami. However, teammate Bustamante won the Grand Prix in a McLaren 1-2, the first team to achieve that this season. Gerard's 3rd place gave her the championship lead as Vogt failed to score. So far, 6 different race winners in 6 races. This season is giving me strong 2012 vibes, as the top 2 are just separated by a point. Bahrain winner Pulling has fallen to 7th, having scored once since her opening round win. Let's make our first check-in on the development graph then. We've got the fastest car by a margin at McLaren, with V-Carb and Aston Martin our closest competition. Pulling's drop down the standings is explained by Alpine's poor development. Constructors table toppers Mercedes have the 7th fastest car, while Ferrari are slowest. Imola saw our 7th different winner of the season as Nerea Marti reached top spot, having qualified on pole. It moves her into 2nd behind Gerard, who finished on the podium, and Abby Pulling made a return to the points in her Alpine as well. Monaco saw our first repeat winner as Gerard returned to the top of the podium. Marti brought home 2nd as Lola Lovinfus got her V-Carb to 3rd, although she was a minute behind the lead duo. Gerard extended her advantage again in Canada as Pan won her first race of the season. Gerard won again in Spain as Mercedes continued to assert their dominance. Marti failed to score in her home race at Catalonia, a big dent to her title hopes. But the McLaren driver responded in Austria, winning the Grand Prix. She had started the sprint from pole, but fell to 6th as Hawkins took the win. Gerard's consistency is making her tough to beat as she took 3rd. Sprint winner Hawkins was 6th on race day. Pan took her 2nd win of the season at the British Grand Prix as Gerard had a rare difficult day. Marti finished in 2nd despite starting from pole as Jessica Hawkins got a podium on home soil. Halfway through the season and the now 63 rated Gerard is dominating. 3 wins, 9 podiums and a sprint win have helped her to a 34-point lead. Marti is her closest challenger and Ferrari's lack of development means early challenger Maya Vogt has faded away. She hasn't scored since China. Pulling has been getting back on form but finds herself 105 points off the top. In the development race, McLaren, Mercedes, Aston Martin and Red Bull are closely matched, with V-Carb leading the midfield. Ferrari are rubbish. What are they doing at Maranello? Before we find out if anyone can halt Gerard's charge, make sure you join the growing AHGP Discord community. We chat F1, football and the broader motorsport world in general. Click the link in the description to join us. Right, back to the video. Can anyone catch Gerard in the second half of the season? It's not looking likely, as she finishes second in Budapest before back-to-back victories in Belgium and the Netherlands. Sauber's Lena Bühler makes it to the points in all three of those races. In Italy, Gerard offers some hope to the chasing Pan and Marti by failing to score. Pan capitalises on her teammate's tough day and cuts the championship lead in half. Tina Hausmann gets a podium for Aston Martin, and Pan trims a few more points from Gerard's advantage, heading up 1-2 in Baku. Mercedes are back to their mid-2010s best now and are cruising to their 9th Constructors' title. Marti's title hopes are fading as a result. However, in Singapore, Pan's momentum comes to a shuddering halt. She finishes 17th, having started last, while her teammate dominates to win again. She opens up a 43-point championship lead as a result. The development picture is largely as it was mid-season. McLaren and Mercedes are the leading teams, and Ferrari still absolutely suck. Haas have moved to 5th best, however McLaren do have some upgrades for the final quarter of the season. Will they be enough to launch an unlikely title fight back? It will take some luck, as Gerard can follow Marti home in second in each race and sprint and still get the job done with ease. But Gerard's Verstappen-like form sees her win the Austin sprint before finishing second to her teammate in the Grand Prix. Marti finishes 6th as she had to take extra engine parts, bringing her realistic title hopes to an end. Pan's win cuts the gap to 37 points. The Frenchwoman takes a bit more out of her rival's lead in Mexico as Mercedes seal the Constructors' Championship in style. They finish 1-2 ahead of Honda Alcobace's Red Bull. Gerard ekes out a few more championship points on Pan with a sprint victory in Brazil before Marti beats Pan to win the Grand Prix. However, Gerard finishes 4th with her lead now sliced to 26 points. She bounces back with a victory in Vegas as her teammate struggles to 5th. And yes, Ferrari have finally scored a point as Maya Vogue finishes 10th. The champion is crowned in Qatar as Gerard wins the Grand Prix from 19th on the grid. Pan finishes 2nd ahead of Marti, but there can be no doubt that Caroline Gerard is a worthy world champion. She goes on to score her 9th win at the season closer in Abu Dhabi too, underscoring her formidable campaign. After 7 different winners in 7 races, Gerard's title soon became inevitable. Pan and Marti tried their best to catch up, but Gerard simply had too much for them. It was interesting to see that teams like Red Bull and Ferrari weren't able to develop particularly effectively. Perhaps that's down to the wind tunnel and CFD allocations, although Mercedes start with the 2nd lowest amount, which busts that theory I suppose. Gerard took 9 wins, stood on the podium 19 times and delivered 11 poles on her way to title glory. Pan backing up the Mercedes dominance with 7 wins and 6 poles. Mercedes demolished the opposition, winning the Constructors by 307 points. Ferrari finished 8th as the Ferrari-powered teams all struggled. I mean, is this 2020 again? Every driver scored points and 12 drivers stood on the podium. It feels a bit odd that a regen driver won the championship. Let me know how you feel about that. It's been an interesting experiment and something I'd definitely like to come back to in the future. If you enjoy these types of videos, check out my recent experiment where I gave F1 Manager's worst rated driver a perfect car to see if he could win the title. And stay tuned for next week's video, which will be Lewis Hamilton at Ferrari a year early. If you enjoyed this video, give it a nice big thumbs up, subscribe for more F1 Manager content, and if you think there's someone who would enjoy it too, make sure you share it with them as well. I'll see you for the next video. You're the best, fans. It's bye for now.